In 1980, English post-punk band The Sound released their debut album proper, Jeopardy, and from it the track Heartland. And that was Heartland by The Sound off Jeopardy. And basically, it was mainly characterized by that icy angular organ line which cascaded over this turgid bass line. Basically 4 downstrokes per bar, kind of approximating the buzzsaw. That's kind of like the difference between punk and post-punk. In like punk, you would have like this trebly guitar riff that would go like da na 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 na, and in post-punk that would be transferred over to the bass at times, like on faster numbers anyway. While the other instruments did more dissonant layers over it, like maybe the guitar going like doing that movement where the wrist is stiff and the elbows doing all the movement like the like, or like in this case we had like the bass going do 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 do, yeah, approximating the buzzsaw. Trebly sustained power chords under the chorus line, and this 2-note guitar solo that would kind of go up the scale down like like that kind of something harkening borrowed from the Buzzcocks. I guess they laid the gauntlet for that on the track Boredom a couple of years earlier. And let's see the lyrics to this number. Setting out, city in your sights, you want an overview of the underground. The pressure's off, so your feelings rise. You gotta hit that peak before you crash back down. You gotta believe in the heartland. All mixed up in the heartland heat, a chemistry of commotion and style. You're thrown in. You've got to lose yourself before you find yourself back in exile. You gotta believe in the heartland. I imagine these lyrics deal with the landing in a city and finding it not to just be the beautiful modern Mecca that you had imagined. You know, going to a place like London, New York, LA, thinking it's all going to be parties and bright lights, and only to find it to be just like a post-apocalyptic hellhole, basically, and struggling to etch out an existence, you know, in that environment. And that maybe there's some aspect of that Mecca that you were dreaming of, but you got to have money and connections and to work your way into it. And that's what that line, you got to believe, could be. Or really, on the other hand, it could also be about the hopes and dreams of people in industrial small towns wanting to make a better life for themselves, wanting to turn their just industrial hellholes basically into more livable areas and happy communities and such. Yeah, Heartland by The Sound from their 1980 release Jeopardy. Let's hear another track from the album, Unwritten Law. was Unwritten Law by The Sound from their 1980 album Jeopardy. Okay, and in that track we started out with slow, searing lead guitar sustain over a deep bass line, which was moving at double the speed. So kind of like a mid-tempo bass over slow guitar line. Low-key vocals in the verses, paced by an octave-spanning bass line in A. Pronounced guitar lines on the chorus, one searing note at a time, going like near, near, yeah, G, G flat, A, G, over an angular key change, like do, no, 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 do, F, C, yeah. Amid swelling volume, double guitar on the middle eight, lead, and I was hearing both that near, 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 over some like chordal fuzz during the late, and the instrumentation on this album, Adrian Borland, who's the mastermind behind the band, vocals, guitar, production, Michael Dudley, drums, Graham Bailey, bass guitar, and Belinda B. Marshall, keyboards. So Adrian was doing some double tracking on that track. Yeah, and the lyrics to Unwritten Law. We stab at our faith to keep it alive. We draw the blood, but the law draws the line. A hand is a hand, a knife is a knife, blood is blood, and life is life. We could go anywhere, it would still be the same, a change of climate, a change of air, all the pressure would remain. I can read the unwritten law, I can read the unwritten law. A hand is a hand, a knife is a knife, blood is blood, life is life. So that this is just basically about like how wherever you go, you're still mortal, and there are still going to be laws, and if you cross certain lines, you could be putting yourself in danger, no matter where you happen to be on this planet. Yeah. Let's hear one more track from the album, Missiles. And this and Heartland appeared on the unreleased actual first album from 1979, later released as Propaganda.
is cause damage. But make you hear a sound. Missiles near carnage. Yeah, there once was a time. Who the hell makes those missiles? Who the hell makes those missiles? Missiles. Who the hell makes those missiles? When they know what they can do. Who the hell makes them? Who the hell makes them? Who the hell makes those missiles? When they know what they can do.
And that was Missiles by The Sound from their 1980 release Jeopardy. And it started out with a slow, desolate fade-in bass, soon joined by a nervy staccato guitar figure like plucked dyads, like that real new wave nervy feel. Joined by this like one note shimmery keyboard line fading in and out, that icy sound once again, and that those elements framing the first verse. Then we have that swelling chorus with that declamatory, announcement of the chorus line, and the second verse. The same structure except flanked a bit more with like echoey, fuzz-laden chordal sustains and harmonic notes like bang, like you know those pull-off sounds, those kind of glowy tones you can get from a guitar when you pull off the fretboard, and echoey feedback during the middle eight anyway. Echoey feedback, swelling volume, forming kind of like a sonic vortex. And all that rescinding for the third verse where the icy organ reasserted itself a bit more. Yeah, some of the other elements kind of fell back a bit more and the organ kind of took center stage a bit more. And then we go into that third verse and then it all repeats, back into the chorus for a final. And that was quite a epic there. Maximalistic number at 5 minutes 28 seconds. Yeah, the epic of the album. And let's see, lyrically, deep in the country, the factories hide where they make the missiles that run our lives. It seems like industrialization and the arms race seem to be major concerns of Adrian Borland here. Who the hell makes those missiles? Who the hell makes those missiles? When they know what they can do. Yeah, why would people be making them if they know what they've got the money, they've got the know-how, it's all above our heads, it's coming down now. Who the hell makes those missiles? Missiles cause damage and make an eerie sound. Missiles leave carnage where there was once a town. Who the hell makes those missiles? Yeah, this could be every bit as relevant today as it was 40 years ago. Yeah, two of the tracks we heard in the set, Missiles, and at the top of the set, Heartland, were originally, excuse me. Missiles was recorded for the 1979 album Propaganda, which was vaulted for 20 years, unfortunately. Great album, should have been released in its own time. That album included 3 songs that were re-recorded for Jeopardy. Missiles, Words Fail Me, and Night vs. Day. And the second track we heard in the set, Unwritten Law, appeared on their 1979 Physical World EP, which actually did get released in its own time, yeah. And I haven't heard the Physical World EP, so I don't know if the Unwritten Law I played you in the set is the same or a different version. But I do know that the version of missiles is different. Of those, the only difference I had an opinion on really was Night versus Day, which appeared on Jeopardy and Propaganda and Jeopardy. I preferred the original recording on Propaganda over the one on Jeopardy. Otherwise, I found the other overlapping tracks pretty equal, like Missiles. And I guess the track at the top of that set, Heartland, was the new track. Was among the new tracks for Jeopardy. Yeah, the Sound would put out 3 albums between 1980 and 1982, and then there was a bit of a break, and then like a live album and a few more releases in the later part of the decade, and then Propaganda finally got released 20 years after the fact. The Sound. Okay, Jazz Rock Soul says the Sound were an English new wave art rock band from London. The band's core of guitarist vocalist Adrian Borland, bassist Graham Bailey, and drummer Mike Dudley had earlier played together as The Outsiders. Yeah, they put out 2 albums, circa 77, 78, kind of in a garage punk vein. Between the first and second Sound albums, Borland and Bailey issued 2 Cold Wave releases as Second Layer. Yeah, so quite an active guy with Adrian Borland in particular, who had a lot of different ideas. And yeah, to be doing this and to also want to do kind of something more, I don't know, like in the Thomas Lair vein at the same time, goes to show just how much creative energy he had back in the day. Anyway, yeah, the Sound, one of many great talents to emerge at the dawn of the 80s when everyone was like exploring new sonic areas that hadn't really been thought of, getting into more expressionistic territory, and just feeling out how desirable it can be to do things like to tweak up the treble here and to emphasize, say, the bass over here, in just different mixing than you would have had like on records like a few years earlier. Anyway. For more Rubies and Sapphires from the catalog of The Sound, see the directory of albums by English S artists linked in the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the 3 songs we just heard. The interplay, the layers, the sonic treatment of certain instruments and double tracking and such, and the lyrics. Yeah, all of them quite, pointed and relevant. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most air-traveled Tremax most, signing off.